If you're over 60, there's one familiar drink that could be silently pushing you closer to a stroke, not sometime in the distant future, but possibly tonight while you sleep. No warning signs, no pain. You go to bed feeling just fine, but may wake up with slurred speech, loss of balance, or an arm you can no longer move. As a brain specialist, I've seen this happen far too often. Well-meaning seniors who think they're making a healthy choice, believing that their daily glass of milk is good for the heart, the bones, or for energy. But here's what truly concerns me. Some types of milk, even those labeled plant-based, low-fat, or heart-healthy, may quietly harm the blood vessels in your brain, increasing the chance of blood clots forming while you sleep. This video could be one of the most important health warnings you've ever received, and it might even save your life. In the next few minutes, I'll share 5 types of milk that may raise your risk of stroke, brain bleeding, or high blood pressure conditions that become most dangerous at night when your brain is at its most vulnerable. If you've always believed that a glass of milk before bed is a healthy choice, what you hear today might just change everything. Before we dive in, type yes in the comments if you currently drink any kind of milk. Be sure to turn on notifications because what you're about to hear could completely change how you see that nightly glass of milk. Finally, if you find this video helpful, leave a comment with the number 1. If it didn't quite resonate with you, don't hesitate to type 0. That helps me improve the content for you. Now, let's start with the first type. Whole cow's milk, a quiet but dangerous factor that can send your blood pressure soaring. After 30 years of working with older patients, I know this risk isn't far away. It's sitting right in the refrigerators of millions of American households. Whole milk, with its rich, creamy taste and comforting warmth, often brings back pleasant childhood memories. But for older adults, especially those over 60, this seemingly harmless drink could be silently pushing your brain closer to the edge of a stroke. And the danger. It can strike silently in your sleep with no warning signs at all. Many people believe that drinking milk before bed helps them relax, sleep better, or strengthen their bones. But the truth is, after a certain age, your body no longer processes fat the way it used to, and that's when whole milk becomes a real risk. This type of milk contains a high level of saturated fat, and that fat doesn't just disappear. It quietly builds up along the walls of your arteries day after day, making them narrower and less flexible. While you sleep, your blood pressure naturally fluctuates. But if your blood vessels are already damaged and stiff from fat buildup, they can't adjust as easily. And it's during these seemingly peaceful nighttime hours that a small blood clot can form in a narrowed artery, triggering a stroke in an instant. I've seen this happen far too many times in my career, and one case I'll never forget is Mr. Allen, a 76-year-old retired school janitor. For most of his life, he had the habit of drinking a warm glass of whole milk every evening, believing it helped him sleep better. But one morning, his wife found him collapsed at the kitchen table, his face drooping, unable to speak, and with no control over his body. He had suffered an ischemic stroke quietly triggered during his sleep. When we reviewed his diet, we found that whole milk had been a regular part of his routine. Even though his cholesterol and blood pressure levels weren't dangerously high, the long-term buildup of saturated fat from the milk was enough to tip the delicate balance, and the consequences were irreversible. What Mr. Allen faced next was a long and difficult road, not just physically, but emotionally. He spent weeks in a rehab center learning how to speak clearly, again one word at a time, and lost the ability to write with his dominant hand, something he'd done with ease for decades. But the hardest part wasn't his recovery, it was the emotional toll on his wife. She became his caregiver, carrying the weight of worry and responsibility, watching her partner slowly lose his independence. What's heartbreaking is that all of this could have been prevented. A single glass of milk, something many people drink every day without a second thought, can quietly damage your blood vessels over time until one day it's simply too late. As we age, our brains become less capable of bouncing back from even the smallest mistake. A tiny blood clot in the brain at age 30 might pass without serious consequences. But after 60, it can take away your independence, your ability to communicate, and turn your whole life upside down overnight. And here's the thing, it's not just whole milk that's to blame. The real danger lies in the mistaken belief that old habits are always safe, something that simply isn't true once your body begins to change with age. But if that surprised you, just wait until you hear what's happening with one of today's most health-conscious milk alternatives, almond milk, and how it could quietly be draining essential minerals from your brain while you sleep. If you're still watching and finding this information helpful, drop a number 1 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. Now let's move on to the second point, almond milk. At first glance, it sounds great, plant-based, dairy-free, low in cholesterol, and praised as heart-healthy. For many older adults trying to adjust their diets to manage blood pressure or digestive issues, it seems like an ideal choice. But what I'm about to share may surprise you, and it might just protect your brain. Because even though it sounds clean and smart, especially the unsweetened versions, almond milk can be a hidden trap for people over 60. It not only lacks the essential nutrients your body needs, but it can also quietly deplete key minerals like calcium and magnesium, two crucial elements for keeping blood pressure steady and preventing blood clots. If left unchecked, this can become the silent trigger behind a sudden, unexpected stroke. Most almond milks on the market today, especially those labeled natural or pure arent, fortified with the essential nutrients older adults need. Many of them are extremely low in sodium and potassium, two critical electrolytes that help your heart beat steadily and keep nerve signals flowing smoothly through your brain. When your body doesn't get enough of these, it can lead to low sodium or low potassium levels, a dangerous state that can cause confusion, fatigue, muscle weakness, unstable blood pressure, and in some cases, even a stroke. Let me tell you about Lorraine, a 79-year-old retired math teacher from Ohio. Wanting to lower her cholesterol and stay healthy, she switched from cow's milk to almond milk, believing it was a smart choice. Every morning, she poured almond milk over her cereal, added it to her tea, and even blended it into her smoothies. She truly thought she was taking good care of herself. But then the dizzy spells started sudden without warning. And one morning, as she reached for a glass of water, she collapsed right there in her kitchen. At the hospital, doctors found her sodium levels had dropped to a dangerously low point. The diagnosis, a transient ischemic attack. TIA, a mini stroke triggered by an electrolyte imbalance and low blood volume. The chaos inside her body allowed a tiny blood clot to form, cutting off blood flow to the brain for just a moment. Lorraine survived, but the effects have lingered. She could no longer walk steadily, lost the ability to drive, and her daughter had to leave her job to move in and care for her. And it all began with what seemed like a healthy choice, a carton of almond milk sitting quietly on the kitchen shelf. The problem is, as we grow older, our body's ability to regulate fluids, especially through the kidneys, begins to slow down. Common medications like diuretics, blood pressure pills, and heart drugs can make electrolyte imbalances even worse. When these factors combine with a milk that provides little to no sodium or potassium, your brain may no longer get the nutrients and oxygen it needs to function properly. The result? Your alertness, memory, and even your survival could be at risk. What's sad is that most older adults never question the almond milk they drink every day until it's too late. Over time, the lack of essential minerals in almond milk creates the perfect conditions for blood clots to form, especially at night when your body is most vulnerable. And yet many almond milk cartons are covered in phrases like heart healthy, 100% natural or plant-powered, giving consumers a false sense of security without realizing that it's what's missing, not what's included, that poses the real threat. This silent deficiency can steal your independence, your memory, and even your life. And if you're already starting to feel uneasy about almond milk, brace yourself for what's next, because low-fat milk is hiding a sweet but dangerous secret. We're talking about 1% or fat-free milk, the kind many older adults choose each day, believing that less fat means it's good for the heart and better for weight control. But the harsh truth is, this is one of the most common and dangerous misconceptions I see in older patients. While people think they're making a smart, healthy choice, this very type of milk could be quietly pushing them closer to a stroke, one sip at a time. You see, when natural fat is removed from milk, manufacturers often add something else to improve the taste and texture: sugar, either in the form of concentrated natural sugars or added sweeteners. And when you drink fat-free milk, there's nothing left to slow down how quickly your body absorbs it. The result? Sugar rushes into your bloodstream, causing a sharp spike in glucose, followed by a rapid drop. This sudden swing makes your insulin and blood pressure fluctuate dramatically. For older adults whose blood sugar regulation and cardiovascular systems are already less efficient, this can easily trigger irregular heart rhythms, disrupt blood pressure in the brain, and raise the risk of clot formation or even a transient ischemic attack. TIA, also known as a mini stroke. Mr. Benjamin, an 81-year-old retired mail carrier from Georgia, is a clear example. He came to see me after unexpectedly collapsing in his backyard. That morning, he'd felt tired and slightly shaky, but assumed it was just part of getting older. However, when I reviewed his food journal, which he kept in great detail, one thing stood out: every morning he started his day with cereal and a glass of fat-free milk. A quick, familiar breakfast he had trusted for years. But that very routine, combined with the belief that low fat is healthy, was quietly weakening his vascular system and setting the stage for a sudden episode of reduced blood flow to the brain. What actually happened to Mr. Benjamin was more serious than he realized. The sugar from the fat-free milk combined with the cereal caused his blood sugar to spike in the morning, then crash quickly. That rapid swing triggered a stress hormone response, tightening his blood vessels and causing a sudden spike in blood pressure. In that vulnerable moment, a small clot formed and briefly blocked the blood flow to his brain. Fortunately, it was only a minor stroke. Even so, the effects left a mark. Mr. Benjamin experienced days of stuttering, and even after recovering, the fear that it could happen again at any moment continued to haunt him. The danger isn't just in the milk itself, it's the false sense of security it creates. Labels like heart healthy or low fat can easily mislead older adults into thinking they're making smart choices when in reality, the opposite may be true. Removing natural fat from milk and replacing it with sugar, whether natural or added, is a risky trade-off, especially for an aging body. Your brain doesn't need sugar rushes and crashes like a roller coaster. It needs steady fuel to stay alert and keep vital functions running. And when you strip all the fat from milk, something else happens. Calcium may be absorbed too quickly, causing it to deposit in the wrong places, such as in the walls of your arteries. This accelerates arterial calcification, making your blood vessels stiff and narrow, and increasing your risk of a serious stroke over time. The cost of that seemingly light glass of milk could be your sense of balance, your clear morning voice, your right to live independently, and all from a breakfast moment that felt completely harmless. So next time you reach for that low-fat milk, pause for just 1 second and ask yourself, is it truly light, or is it quietly hiding a deeper risk waiting to strike? And if this is giving you something to think about, Stay tuned, because in the next part, I'll reveal what coconut milk, a tropical drink many people see as healthy, might actually be doing to your blood while you sleep. If you're still here and finding this helpful, drop a number 1 in the comments so I know you're still with me. Now let's move on to the 4th type, coconut milk. A drink that seems exotic, tropical, and often comes with the label of a superfood. From health magazines to nutrition blogs, coconut milk is praised as natural, anti-inflammatory, even brain-boosting. But for older adults, especially those in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, this seemingly healthy drink can hide a much more troubling reality. And I've seen the consequences firsthand. Behind its smooth, creamy taste lies a silent threat. It can thicken your blood, harden your arteries, and contribute to the formation of dangerous blood clots that lead to stroke. What many people don't realize is that coconut milk, especially canned or full-fat versions, contains more saturated fat than most other plant-based milks, rivaling even dairy milk. And at an age when your liver no longer processes fat as efficiently as it used to, those saturated fats aren't fully broken down. They slowly build up in the body. Over time, they raise levels of LDL, the bad cholesterol, and begin sticking to the walls of your arteries, making them narrower, stiffer, and more fragile. Day by day, that buildup creates the perfect conditions for a clot to form, one that can block blood flow at any moment. And once that clot forms, just a few seconds is all it takes to stop blood from reaching your brain. One moment you're walking as usual, and the next you could collapse without even realizing what's happening. I clearly remember the case of Carol, a 75-year-old retired florist from North Carolina. After reading an article online praising coconut milk, she started adding it to her morning smoothies, thinking she was doing something good for her health. It just felt cleaner than cow's milk, she told me. But not long after, Carol began experiencing unusual symptoms: tightness in her chest, mild dizziness, blurry vision, which she brushed off as signs of aging. Then, one evening after going to bed early with a headache, she woke up confused, unable to see clearly or speak normally. Her husband immediately called for help, and at the hospital, she was diagnosed with a minor ischemic stroke, a serious warning triggered by what seemed like an innocent morning habit. Carol's test results told the full story. Her LDL, cholesterol, and triglyceride levels were unusually high, and imaging scans revealed early signs of arterial calcification, a dangerous condition that often develops silently without clear symptoms. While coconut milk wasn't the only factor, it had quietly contributed day after day without anyone noticing. Her arteries had been thickening gradually for months, maybe even years. And the heartbreaking part: she had no idea it was happening. Now she attends speech therapy twice a week, working hard to regain something she once took for granted: the ability to communicate. Independence. Something Carol had always treasured as part of who she was taken from her by what seemed like a healthy choice. The truth is, even fats that are considered natural can become serious problems in an aging body. Saturated fat isn't inherently bad, but once you reach an age where your digestive system, liver, and cardiovascular functions have slowed down regularly, consuming concentrated fats, like those found in canned or full-fat coconut milk, can become a hidden danger, especially when taken in daily without a second thought. So if you regularly drink coconut milk, especially the full-fat or undiluted kinds, you need to understand that you may be creating the perfect environment for a blood clot to form. It's a slow, silent process, but the consequences can be devastating. And remember, the brain is not forgiving. A single clot in the wrong place can steal your memory, distort your speech, or leave you with movement you may never fully recover. But if coconut milk has you feeling concerned, get ready, because what's hiding inside many flavored plant-based milks may be even more alarming. Welcome to the fifth point, a silent sugar storm invading your brain every day without you even realizing it. Number 5, flavored or sweetened plant-based milks. The hidden sugars. It's easy to be fooled by gentle-sounding names like vanilla almond chocolate oat or honey cashew. They sound delicious, natural, even heart-friendly. Many older adults believe they're making a smart swap, a healthier plant-based alternative. But in truth, these smart choices could be quietly damaging your brain from the inside out. What most people don't realize is that behind each sweet sip of flavored plant-based milk may be a significant hidden danger. That seemingly harmless drink can slowly raise your blood pressure, weaken your blood vessels, and lay the groundwork for a sudden life-altering stroke. Most flavored milks, whether it's vanilla chocolate or honey, contain high amounts of added sugars or refined carbohydrates to improve taste. When you drink them, especially without fiber or protein, to slow down the absorption, those sugars hit your bloodstream fast, triggering a sudden internal reaction. In older adults, insulin sensitivity often declines with age, and the blood vessels become more fragile. This means that every spike in blood sugar doesn't just lead to fatigue, it also triggers a cascade of inflammation, oxidative stress, and endothelial dysfunction. These are well-documented factors that damage artery walls and promote blood clot formation. The danger is, you don't see this damage happening until it's built up enough to cause permanent harm. I think of Harold McKinney, an 83-year-old retired jazz musician living in Illinois. Every morning, he started his day with a large glass of vanilla oat milk. It's plant-based, Doc, he told me proudly. Better than cow's milk, right? He believed he was making a heart-healthy choice, doing the right thing for his body in his later years. But then he began to feel foggy-headed mid-morning, sometimes weak, sometimes irritable, for no clear reason. Things became clearer one afternoon. As he was practicing piano, he suddenly collapsed forward. His wife rushed him to the emergency room, where doctors diagnosed a minor stroke caused by a small blood clot that had blocked a branch of the artery in the left hemisphere of his brain. Test results revealed elevated blood sugar, high triglycerides, and signs of inflammation in his blood vessels. The culprit. That seemingly harmless oat milk, turns out it contained nearly 15 grams of sugar per glass. That's even more than a can of soda, and Harold wasn't drinking just 1 glass a day. He drank 2. Multiply that out, and you can see the daily sugar load his body had to manage, an overload that gradually reshaped his vascular system without him ever realizing it. The price he paid was weeks of rehabilitation, losing the ability to use his dominant hand smoothly, and a bitter irony, he thought he was doing everything right. But the very drink he believed was healthy was silently pushing him closer to danger, day by day, sip by sip. The hidden sugar in Harold's oat milk wasn't just part of his breakfast. It was part of a chain reaction quietly building toward a blood clot that nearly stole the independence he valued so deeply. And his story is far from rare. Many older adults believe the phrase plant-based automatically means safe. But the truth is, sweetened almond oat or soy milks are not the health heroes they appear to be. They're more like sugar bombs disguised in a wellness label. That pleasant sweetness you taste each day may be masking a bitter reality. These milks could be weakening your insulin response, stiffening your arteries, and damaging your brain in ways you can't see. Even when a label says no added sugar, it's worth staying cautious because many plant-based milks still contain high amounts of natural carbohydrates, which your body quickly converts into sugar. And for older adults especially, those dealing with high blood pressure, diabetes, or memory issues, those constant blood sugar swings don't just cause fatigue. They can lead to deeper lasting health changes. These changes won't happen after just 1 glass, but over time the damage adds up quietly until the consequences become impossible to ignore. So before you pour another glass of so-called healthy sweetened milk, stop and ask yourself, am I really nourishing my brain or slowly harming it one sip at a time? Because up next is the most important part of this conversation, the part that may completely change the way you think about every glass of milk you've ever had. If all these common milks carry hidden risks, from the saturated fat in cow's milk to the electrolyte imbalance from almond milk to the sugar spikes from flavored plant-based milks, then what truly is the best choice to protect your brain and body as you age? The answer may surprise you for its simplicity and its powerful impact. Point number 6. So what should you drink instead? After everything I've shared, it's completely understandable if you're feeling confused or even overwhelmed. I've had many patients sit across from me, eyes full of worry, and say, "Doctor, I really thought I was doing the right thing. I eat clean. I drink plant-based milk. What else do I need to change?" To answer that, let me tell you about Margaret, a 73-year-old retired school principal from Arizona. When I first met her, she confidently pulled out a list of all the healthy foods she ate every day, a list any dietitian would have applauded, until we took a closer look at the drinks she was relying on. Margaret's mornings began with low-fat milk at breakfast, a splash of almond milk in her coffee, and by afternoon, a protein shake made with oat milk. She wasn't doing anything reckless. In fact, she was trying her best to live well. But despite her efforts, she still faced issues no one wants dizziness upon: waking afternoon fatigue and worsening memory. Her blood pressure was fluctuating unpredictably, and lab tests showed chronic inflammation, along with elevated insulin, clear warning signs of a body out of balance. In truth, Margaret was headed toward metabolic syndrome, a cluster of cardiovascular and metabolic issues that many older adults don't even know they have. But what worried me most were the early signs of arterial stiffness, a silent condition that makes blood vessels less flexible and restricts blood flow to the brain. And the most alarming part, she wasn't doing anything extreme. These were choices millions of people make every day, common, familiar, and mistaken. So we began to clean house in her daily drinks. We eliminated all sweetened plant-based milks. We cut out ultra-processed dairy products and anything labeled low-fat that had been stripped and modified. No more guessing, no more chasing trends. Instead, we returned to the basics: true nourishment. Simple, clear beverages that hydrate, stabilize blood sugar, and protect the brain rather than quietly harming it day after day. Margaret's new morning routine began gently with a glass of room-temperature water. Not too cold, not too hot, just enough to rehydrate her brain after a full night's rest. Her breakfast included a cup of unsweetened soy milk fortified with calcium, offering a well-balanced mix of protein, healthy fats, and essential minerals for her heart and blood vessels. Some mornings, she treated herself to a green smoothie made with spinach berries, a few walnuts, and a splash of carefully chosen, unsweetened almond or flax milk free of hidden sugars or artificial additives. And just a few weeks into these simple changes, the fog in her mind began to lift. She felt more steady on her feet. Her mood became more even, and with that, her confidence slowly returned. At a follow-up visit, she looked at me, eyes welling up, and said, "I feel like I've gotten my brain back." Before that, she believed her memory was slipping fast, that it was just part of getting older. But it wasn't. What she needed wasn't a fancy brain supplement or a trendy health label. It was the right fuel for an aging brain. And this is true for so many older adults. Your body, and especially your brain, doesn't crave fads or flashy promises. What it truly needs is balance, real nourishment, attentiveness, and smart adjustments. Because the choices you make today will shape the quality of your life tomorrow. What your brain truly needs at this stage of life isn't sweet promises or the latest food trends, it's stability. Steady hydration, reliable nutrients, and an internal environment free from biochemical surprises. When you remove the silent offenders, those seemingly healthy milks that are actually doing harm, your brain finally gets the chance to recover function more clearly and stay sharp. Because the frightening truth is this, these drinks don't just make you feel tired or foggy for a moment. Over time, they contribute to plaque buildup, thickened blood, and lay the foundation for blood clots, the silent threats that can steal your speech movement or even your life in just seconds. So, take a moment to ask yourself what's really in the glass you're holding. Is it nourishing you or quietly breaking you down sip by sip? But before you rush to toss every milk carton in your fridge, there's one final and important truth. I want you to hear clearly. It's something most older adults are never told by their doctors. It's not about a prescription or a specific drink. It's the most important thing of all. Understanding your own body is what will truly protect your future. Let me leave you with this final wake-up call. The real issue isn't the milk itself. It's that we've never been taught to see milk or anything we consume daily through the lens of what an aging body actually needs. You see, I'm not speaking to you only as a brain specialist, but as someone who cares deeply about your independence, your clarity of mind, and the quality of life you deserve. Because the greatest danger isn't the milk in front of you, it's the lifelong habits we repeat without question even when they no longer serve the body we live in today. After age 60, everything in your body, from your heart and blood vessels to your brain cells, becomes more sensitive than ever. What you drink when you drink it and what's in every sip all have a direct impact on your ability to live well and think clearly. And while milk may seem harmless, even labeled as beneficial, it could be quietly disrupting your body's delicate balance day after day. But when you have the right information, you can make better choices. And that is how you protect your memory, your clarity, and your independence, not by luck, but through understanding. Saturated fat is silently hardening your arteries. Sugar is feeding inflammation inside your blood vessels. Nutritional imbalance is forcing your heart to work under stress. Stress you may not feel until it's too late. And through all of this, quietly without warning, blood clots begin to form often at night when your body is most vulnerable. Now you understand the truth about 5 familiar types of milk: whole milk, almond milk, low-fat milk, coconut milk, and sweetened plant-based milks, and how each can silently increase your risk of stroke in different but very real ways. You've also heard the stories of real people, those who thought they were doing the right thing, only to face serious consequences from habits that seemed harmless. This isn't about fear. This is a wake-up call, a chance to take ownership of the fact that your body at 70 or 80 doesn't respond the way it did at 40. What once was considered healthy may now be a biological burden. That's not weakness, it's reality. And embracing it, that's real strength. Understanding this doesn't take away your power, it strengthens it. You have more control than you think. With just a few intentional changes, like checking ingredients, reading labels carefully, talking to your doctor before making dietary shifts, choosing water over sugar, and making mindful decisions. You're not just protecting your health today, you're investing in your future. That future is time with the people you love. It's the ability to speak, to move, to laugh. It's the moments of life you absolutely deserve to experience fully. I've seen too many kind, well-meaning people suffer simply because no one ever warned them. That ends now, starting today, because now you know. And knowledge, when acted upon, is the first and most powerful medicine of all. So I'll leave you with one final question, not to close this conversation, but to start a new one tomorrow morning. What will you do differently? Will you swap out that carton of milk? Will you take a few seconds to read the label more closely? Will you call your doctor and ask a question? you once thought didn't matter, because here's the good news: your brain, no matter your age, is still fighting for you. And now with the right choices, you can fight for it too. Isn't it time you stood up and protected your brain? If today's message changed the way you see things, imagine how many other older adults are still in the dark, still trusting choices that may be quietly doing harm. Share what you've learned. Talk about it. Because one simple act sharing this information could truly save someone's life. A father, a mother, a friend. From a stroke that didn't have to happen, what you've just heard isn't meant to scare you, it's meant to inspire you, to help you live more fully, more mindfully, and more confidently with every choice you make. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned from this video, something you're ready to apply in your daily life starting today. Let's build a community where we support and encourage one another in facing the truth and making better choices for our health. If you found this content helpful, please leave a 1 in the comments. If it didn't quite resonate, leave a 0. Your feedback matters and helps us improve. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss more honest, practical, and empowering content made just for older adults. Thank you for spending this time with us. Here's to living a healthy, intentional, and full life on your terms.